So the question on everyone's mind right now is Messi able to win a World Cup this year? And in my opinion, the answer is absolutely, unequivocally yes, but it does depend on whether or not it is France or Morocco that they are facing in the final. So without any further ado, let's get into it, guys. Welcome back, lads, ladies, and other False Line Show listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are going over the match between Argentina and Croatia in the semifinals of the World Cup. And I think this is one where Argentina were comfortably in the driver's seat, and they put out some new tactics. This was a big tactical win for Lionel Scaloni, who is the youngest manager at this World Cup, and showing why he deserves to be in charge of this Argentina team. With today's win, he did a very good job of nullifying that Croatian midfield, and that is the reason that Argentina is advancing to the finals for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Ultimately, I don't want to talk too much about the actual tactics and what happened in the match, because it's very clear to me why Argentina won and Croatia lost. It was because Lionel Scaloni decided to go with a midfield diamond. He went a 4-4-2 where he packed in Alexis Mac Allister, Enzo Fernandez, Leandro Paredes, and Rodrigo de Paul tight into this midfield. This did a couple of things. This counteracted Croatia's world-class midfield. I think Croatia have more or less undoubtedly had the best midfield at this tournament, and they were overloaded. They were outnumbered in the midfield because Argentina had 4 central midfielders on the pitch. This also allowed Messi to get really high up the pitch, or to play further high up the pitch. He didn't have to come back, drop deep in order to help with the build-up. This gave him a lot more freedom to do what he does best in the final third, or in attacking movements, and that was create chances, create goals, and that was exactly what he did. He was involved in 2 of the goals today, specifically with the goal contribution, and he was indirectly involved in the 3rd goal as well. So he was the star of the show for Argentina, and if Argentina do win this World Cup, it comes down to the sheer brilliance of Lionel Messi. Aww. You want to say hi? Do you want to say hi? Guys, this is Puppy. This is Danny. Danny, say hi to everybody. She's shy. She's a little bit nervous. She gets camera shy, so she just comes in and she likes to snuggle. You're the best doggy in the whole wide world. Best doggy in the whole wide world. Cookie little one. We go for a walk in just a second, puppy. Yeah, this my baby. This is Danny from Game of Thrones. Queen Daenerys Stormbark. She's the breaker of leashes. Khaleesi of the Great Grass Dog Park. Rightful queen of the animals and the Iron Bull. So one thing that I want to show you guys here that really illustrates this point is the average player positions map. And so we have Argentina here on the left in orange, and we can see that they played very narrow, that they played very tight and compact, that they blocked out. They were going to play through the middle, and they were going to prevent Croatia from playing through their middle. That was their entire game plan, their entire approach to this match. And it worked. You saw both of the first 2 goals, Julian Alvarez's breakaway, and the penalty that Messi then later converted, came from plays coming directly through the middle of the pitch. They cut right through this Croatian defense. They cut right through this Croatian defense. So there isn't too much to talk about. It's not necessarily that Croatia were particularly bad. I didn't think that. I think that Josep Gvardiol could have done better, of course, defensively. Particularly against Messi, I think that he could have done better, but we're talking about going up against the greatest player of all time, or one of the greatest players of all time. Numerous world-class center backs have said, I could have done better against Messi in that match. So he's probably kicking himself for this, but it's understandable. It's Messi. He that's what he does, is he makes these elite defenders look like kids on a school ground. That's exactly what he does. So I think Gvardiol is getting a little bit of unfair shtick for this match. In my particular opinion, I don't think that Croatia were particularly bad. I just think this was one of those nights where Messi was on it, and there was nothing that Croatia could do to stop him. And he has caught momentum at the perfect time, because he has the game of his life in the next match. This is probably his last chance to win a World Cup. Realistically speaking, this is his last major chance to win a World Cup. And I think that he is still good enough to do it. I do think that Ronaldo is past it, that Ronaldo isn't good enough to lead a country to a World Cup victory anymore. But I think Messi still has the capabilities to do that. And I think that there's something interesting about Messi and Argentina and the relationships that he has with the national team. One, of course, he's an idol. He is loved and beloved by all in Argentina and by many across the world. But in his career with the national team, a large portion of what he has done has been adjusting his game to fit the team, to fit what the team needed. And I think that we have here this incarnation of Messi, this incarnation of Argentina, is kind of a perfect mashup where both parties fit well within the other one. So I think that Messi fits really well into what this Argentina squad needs. They need a second striker. They need someone who's going to pick that lock, a De Bruyne sort of player who's going to find and create chances. And Messi is doing so much more than that because he's also converting them. I mean, Julian Alvarez has 4 goals. Messi has 5. Messi also has 3 assists. That's absolutely insane. Those numbers are absolutely ridiculous. So is he good enough to beat France? And that's the big question, because France have a world-class generational player of their own in Kylian Mbappe. And I think we've already seen someone put a stop to Kylian Mbappe, and that was England. In the quarterfinals, England did a really good job of handling Mbappe. They put Kyle Walker on him, and he did a very good job of isolating him. Now that problem then runs into the fact that France has so many weapons and options at their disposal, because if you sacrifice in order to cover Mbappe, you also open up opportunities for players like Antoine Griezmann, like Olivier Giroud. There's a bunch of different players, and Ousmane Dembele on the other side. There's a bunch of different players in this France squad, in this France starting 11, that are incredibly dangerous. I mean, that's not even getting into some of the deeper aspects of this France squad with players like Kingsley Coman and whatnot. So there's a lot of talent that France has at their disposal. This is coming before France and Morocco have had their match, so it's a very real possibility that Morocco advances instead of France. And in that case, I think that the match will be a little bit easier for Argentina, because Morocco is so defensive, and I think that Argentina is well suited to stop Morocco, because I think they have good midfielders in terms of playing on transition, playing on the counterattack. I think they have a good team to snuff out a Moroccan counterattack, and I think with Messi, he picks the lock of those deep blocks really well. That's what he's good at. That's what he's incisive at. I know Morocco have gotten this far by not conceding. It's going to be very hard not to concede to Messi when he has the ball for 70% of the match. He's going to be able to get on the ball in those situations. So I think that Morocco have a tough matchup against Argentina, whereas I think France have the quality to really give them a game of it. I don't see really where Argentina has has any real particular strength in terms of stopping Mbappe. They don't have a world-class defensive right-sided defender. They've got Christian Romero, who is a very good defender, but he plays in the central area. They need someone out wide, and I don't think that they have that, and they're going to really struggle against Mbappe if they aren't able to find someone else who can help out with that. Maybe that sounds like a task for Rodrigo de Paul. This is, of course, assuming France go through. That sounds like a task that might be for Rodrigo de Paul. However, then they're also going to need to stop Antoine Griezmann, because he is the other main creator. He's the other main threat in this France squad. They're going to need to bring in maybe someone like Leandro Paredes or Alexis McAllister in order to stop Antoine Griezmann. And in order to create and launch counterattacks, they're going to have to get past Tchouaméni, Adrien Rabiot, Rafa Varane, Dayot Upamecano. These are very talented defensive players. These are players who are extremely good at snuffing out counterattacks. So they're going to really struggle against France, I think. I think that this France squad is just so deep all over the pitch in a way that Argentina just isn't. I think that they've got the narrative going for them a little bit. Argentina, they've got the most dedicated fans of the World Cup are for Argentina. It was Mexico and Argentina. It is now exclusively Argentina since Mexico has gone home. This France side is very good all over the pitch. They're world class in pretty much every option. I mean, even if Mbappe isn't cutting it himself, he's got Theo Hernandez coming in, backing him up, holding that width, filling that space out wide so that Mbappe can drift inside. So this is going to be a very tough match, I think. If Argentina do get France, it's going to be very, very difficult for them, and should be an absolute cracker of a defensive game, I think. I don't expect there to be too many goals, no matter what the outcome is, no matter who wins, France or Morocco. I don't expect there to be too many goals in the final, in the rest of this World Cup, for that matter. I mean, I really want Messi and Argentina to win this. I'm a Messi stan. He's part of the reason I love football. He's one of my 3 favorite players of all time, along with Francesco Totti and Thierry Henry. So I have a lot of love for Messi here, and I really want Argentina to win, but I see them struggling against France. I struggle to find faith for them in that matchup unless the ball just bounces their way. It's going to come down to one of those: is can Messi pull out some magic? Can Mbappe's magic be avoided, be redundant? That's what it's going to come down to if they do end up playing France. And it is very possible, I think, that Morocco takes the game to France tomorrow and wins. They are struggling with injuries. If Naïd Aguerd is not playing, or if Romain Saiss, or massively if the 2 of them are not playing, that defensive unit is going to really, really suffer. There are some other interesting losses as well in the form of Mazraoui, who's been playing left back at an absolutely elite level this tournament. He normally plays right back for Bayern, and in the past he played right back for Ajax as well. But Achraf Hakimi is on that side, and he's a world-class right back, arguably the best right back in the world, especially with the way Trent and Reece James have kind of stuttered out the gates this semester. There are a lot of good players in this Morocco side who can beat France. I think that they are well primed to take the game to France. But I think if France does win, I really think France has the leg up over Argentina. It's not to say that it's impossible. It's not to say that there's no chance of it happening, of Argentina winning. I think that they can do it. I don't know tactically what their best approach would be, whether it would be this 4-4-2 diamond that we've seen, or more of the 4-3-3 that we've been seeing throughout this tournament. That adds a little bit of width. They could go with a 5 at the back, a 3 center back option. They could bring on Lisandro Martinez, who is a very, very good player in his own right. So there's a lot of different routes that this Argentina team could go down in order to beat this France team. I think that this France team has too much world-class quality. You look at Argentina and you think that their world-class players right now, it's really only Messi, maybe Romero. I think Romero struggles with fitness. I wouldn't necessarily call him a world-class player, but really Messi is kind of their only world-class player. Julian Alvarez, I think, has the potential to be a world-class player. Enzo Fernandez has the potential to be a world-class player, and maybe he's announcing himself as a world-class player with this World Cup. But I think that Messi is really the only truly world-class player in this Argentina lineup. So if they do win, it's going to be with a lot of players who are, kind of like slightly above average sort of players, like the sort of players you look back on their career and you really have to think about it and remember it and he was a good player. Like Lisandro Martinez, I don't think that he's world-class, but Ajax fans will look back and be like, oh, I remember him. Like, he was really good. Otamendi is that same sort of thing. Like, you'll look back and you'll be like, Otamendi, on his day, he was one of the better center backs in the world. That's kind of the sort of makeup of this Argentina team. Players like Molina, players like Acuna, in the fullback areas are players who are, they've never really been world-class. They've always been half decent. They've always been, kind of just that next level below elite. So if they do win, it'll largely be because of team mentality, of team ethic, of Messi's world-class, next-level generational capabilities, and a bunch of half-decent players. I think that's going to sum everything up. Thank you guys so much for joining. Really looking forward to France and Morocco tomorrow. That will be a huge match. Very excited for it. It's going to be an absolute slugfest. And probably going to be another 0-0 draw, or maybe 1-0 to France or something. I don't see many goals being scored in this. Hopefully Morocco can come away with the result. Hopefully Aguerd and Saiss are both healthy enough to play. I think that's huge for them. Playing with their 2 backup center backs in a largely defensive team would be very challenging. So hopefully these players are healthy and fit enough to get on the pitch. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.